Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. I'm Tommy Price and Ronnie Rant's away from the microphone this week. I'm live and in color from Court Street Cafe, 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Need to check these folks out. As always, we're sponsored by the LaBear's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, the Barstool Sportsbook, the Edge Lounge, the whole bit at LaBear's Casino and Hotel. Hey, we've got a special show for you today. Got a couple of guys. Derry Beckwith, National Championship linebacker at LSU. Raymond Parch, RP3 as he's known, over in the Lafayette area, longtime sportscaster. Good morning, Derry. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing this morning?
I'm good. Raymond, how about yourself?
I'm doing great. Once again, I like how you set that up. National champion, Derry Beckwith, and then RP3. And that's exactly how it needs to be. I mean, anytime we do something together, Derry needs to be on top. Okay. And then you get to me. I'm just like the filler stuff. I like
it. And I'm below both of that. So there we go. But anyway, so much to talk about from the weekend. We'll start off with the LSU Tigers who find a way to get the win at Missouri. Daniels and Diggs both over 100 yards rushing, first time in 6 years. LSU had two guys rush for over 200. Malik Neighbors, everybody just contributed. The defense was good enough when they had to be. Derry, your thoughts on the LSU win over Missouri on the road?
I think what people have to realize, anytime you win a game in the SEC, it's an extreme accomplishment because it's hard to win one game in the SEC. And so for me, having a victory, I think, is something to celebrate. And obviously, they still have things to work on defensively. At least down the stretch, they made plays that they needed to make. So there was an improvement from this week to last week from Ole Miss. Obviously, the offense is playing at an all-time high, probably one of the best offenses that we've seen at LSU since Joe Burrow in 2019. So I love what they're doing offensively, especially Logan Diggs, who I had no idea was this good. I mean, he has taken the SEC by storm. It looked like the guy, every time he gets the ball, he's giving 5-6 yards a carry. It's something that we need. Then on defense, look, it is what it is. I had no expectations coming to this game defensively, but every time Missouri got the ball, I had the expectation that they were going to score. And so moving forward in this year, we're just going to have to outscore people because I think some things you're not going to be able to fix at this point defensively. But if you can make just make a few plays, that's all we're asking. Make a few plays and just be average. Heck, they could be below average and still come out victorious, especially the way this offense is playing.
Raymond, your thoughts on the LSU win?
One thing, I think we need to have a conversation about Jane Daniels being in the Heisman conversation.
That's next on my list.
Okay, so we'll get to that. I agree with Derry. I think Kelly was waiting for a running back to emerge. I think he was waiting for a guy to say, you know what? It's my job. This is mine now. He's got that guy. And that guy runs tough and he runs hard. And they have found themselves an absolute stud at running back. Look, offensively, this team is special, right? They can put up points in a hurry. And they were down in this game and it didn't matter. They were able to come back because of it. So offensively, this is a team that's going to score you 42, 43, 45 points the rest of the way. They just are. That Alabama game is going to be interesting because they look like they have an improved physical defense. That'd be a good little chess match there. But when you have Jane Daniels, when you have those running backs, when you have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, you're going to be able to score on anyone. Defensively, they did enough. Like Derry said, you are what you are at this point. They're a flawed team. They have a flawed defense. Now, I do think Pete Jenkins coming in, even with 3 days, really 3.5 days, he made a difference. You saw the defensive line play a little closer to the line of scrimmage, which was a good sign. In the Ole Miss game, they're a yard off, and you're like, I'm not really understanding that. But I will point out something, too, and Derry mentioned it. How about Harold Perkins having kind of a breakout game? He gets the interception, which helped swing the momentum back to LSU, and he blocks the field goal, right? So even though the defense got torched, and they gave up a ton of yards, they held Missouri to field goal and field goal attempts, right? They were bend but don't break in the second half. That allowed their offense to come back and rally and win the game. And the other thing that I think about when I watch this team play is, okay, who else is going to test them on their schedule offensively? Like Ole Miss and Missouri, we knew were going to be shootouts. Auburn looks lost on offense. It's the first year of Hugh Freeze, even though that's kind of a weird series. Like, that series is kind of drunk, right? Like it always something crazy happens. But Army, it was at Georgia State. Those are going to be wins. A&M got humbled again by Alabama over the weekend. So who scares you on the schedule? Who do you look at and go, that's going to be a track meet? I don't necessarily see one. So LSU still has a really good chance because of their offense, if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, of running the table and winning the West. Now, facing Georgia again in Atlanta, and we saw how angry the Bulldogs looked when everyone doubted them this weekend against Kentucky. They finally looked like Georgia for the first time this year. But LSU looks magnificent on offense, and their defense just has to be good enough. Like Derry said, they just have to be good enough to keep a team under 30. That's kind of the goal for them because they are what they are. Like we're 6 weeks into the season. You're not going to change. You got to make the best of what you got.
We're visiting with Derry Beckwith and Raymond Parsh III. Ronnie Rance away from the Sports Shows Daily all week. As a matter of fact, I'll be back Wednesday and Friday. But I want to talk about Jaden Daniels. First thing I want to say, that's a tough dude. I mean, that dude is tough. He took some shots in this game, never let up. He was aching and hurting a few times. But here's my point. And Derry, you played the game at that level. If you're in that huddle, you're on that sideline, you see him what Jaden Daniels is doing, trying to help his team win, whether it's scrambling for that first down or throwing that pass, taking a hit and jumping right back up. I mean, that elevates the mindset of everybody else wearing an LSU helmet. And number one, he is a tough dude. Number two, I agree with you, Raymond. Why he's not in the Heisman conversation is mind-boggling. But you know what? He's going to get there because as you said, Raymond, the rest of the schedule lends itself to him putting some serious numbers up. He's already thrown more touchdown passes this season, halfway through the year, than he did his freshman year at Arizona State. He had 17. He's already got 18 this year. So, Derry, your comments, I mean, Jaden Daniels, he's a dude.
He is. I think for me, what I've seen from Jaden Daniels is the maturity from last year to this year. It goes back to what game was it? The Arkansas game, where he didn't play well at all in the first half. And usually Jaden Daniels last year was a rhythm quarterback, meaning he had to get in a rhythm to be successful. And if you guys know from last year, if he started off bad in the passing game, it's going to be bad the whole game. But the maturity level from him, from even Arkansas, first half wasn't good, second half was flawless. That's maturity. The other part that I like about Jaden Daniels is even coming into this year, nobody was really sold on Jaden Daniels, right? It was still kind of like, we were not sure. Like, can he throw the D ball? I think Nussmeier may be better for the offense. And guys, let me tell you right now, when they say block out the noise, that's bull crap, because we hear everything the media say, we hear everything that everyone says. For him to step up and rise to the occasion speaks volumes to his maturity level, and for him to play injured, play through pain, that's infectious on the whole team. And guys, don't think for 1 second that the defense didn't see that and realize, wait a minute, this guy's playing out here with hurt ribs. We got to make a stop for him. So he's incredible. He should be in the Heisman talk. He definitely needs an invite to New York City.
Raymond?
You look at his numbers, and they're off the chart, right? And my point is, some people are going, look, I understand it's probably going to be Pac-12 quarterback-driven Heisman ceremony, right? You got the reigning Heisman winner in Caleb Williams for USC. Michael Penix Jr. is having a phenomenal season for Washington, and his numbers are nearly like Jaden's, and he's played one less game. And Bo Nix at Oregon, we'll see. But a lot of buzz about Sanders at Colorado. Well, he has 2 losses on his resume, right? So the whole narrative of, well, you can't have multiple losses and win the Heisman. Well, RG3 won the Heisman, and that Baylor team had multiple losses, didn't it? And if LSU continues to play and Jaden continues to play at this level, he's going to be back in Atlanta playing for a conference championship against the 2-time reigning national champs. So everything's in front of him to be considered. He's by far, it's not even close. It's him, and there's a huge drop off to everyone else in the SEC at quarterback. Like it's it's a weird year for that where you don't have really elite guys elsewhere. It's Jaden and everyone else, and he is exceptional. And he's not afraid to make the throws. And you're right, he takes hits. You cringe when you watch him because you're like, oh, like he puts his body out there, and you go, oh no, he's gonna get hurt. But we've seen this. We saw this with Joe Burrow. Remember when the University of Central Florida DB thought he was tough and stood over Joe Burrow in that bowl game to end the 2018 season? And what happened in that game? They came back and just absolutely curb stomped the Golden Knights. And then came the Heisman year and the national title year the year after. Toughness from the quarterback position matters. If your guy who leads the offense is out there taking hits and getting back up and is leading your team, that's infectious, right? The other guys feed off of that because they're like, oh, we got to go out there and we got to lay the wood on their quarterback, or we got to light up one of their wide receivers, or we got to get this huge third down stop. It's part of why Jaden is the starter. And look, I understand Nussmeier's got the rocket arm and he can throw 60 yards from his knees and all that great stuff. He'll be the guy next year, right? Like he'll be the guy next year. But for this year, this LSU team, it's a magnificent offense. I don't think we anticipated just how good they were going to be. They found their stud running back. The offensive line has improved week after week after kind of a sluggish start against Florida State. You got a stud quarterback. You got 2 wide receivers and a third that can take the top off. You got a tight end that can catch the ball. They do everything right on offense.
Well, and they also
had go ahead.
Some offensive linemen around the other day too. So, and that worked out with a true freshman at center, which doesn't always work. A college football thing, I got to bring this up. University of Miami versus Georgia Tech. If Miami kneels on the football, they win the game. It's very hard to win a football game. Derek, you and I talked about that on Sports Choice Radio Saturday. If you kneel on the ball, you got a 99.99% chance to win the game, if not 100. And yet they handed the ball off. Now, I blame the head coach. There are people in Miami think he should be fired. I also blame the coaching staff. Like, hey, coach, wait a minute. What are you doing, coach? Or even the quarterback. I know quarterbacks don't like talking back to their coach a lot, but the quarterback's got to say, wait a minute, what are we going to do here? And then you not only do you fumble the ball and Georgia Tech gets it, then you allow them to go down the field and score a 44-yard touchdown pass the buzzer to beat you. So, I mean, but Cristobal, the head coach of Miami, did this at Oregon a couple of years ago. He could have knelt on it and won a game. So, you say shame on me once, but when it happened again, he's either – something's got to happen. That's unfortunate for that program because you had the game won. Literally, it's very hard to blame a coach for losing a game. I get it. We can go back through the 60-minute tape and find missed tackles, drop passes, lots of reasons teams lose. But in this case, they lost that game because he, for some reason, handed the ball off. Derry, your thoughts? And then I know you got to get out of here after that.
I think that was probably one of the most egregious, dumbest calls I've ever seen in my life. But I'm going to preface it with a but, meaning that I know everybody's saying that was an idiotic call, but that's his MO, meaning he's done that in the past, and he doesn't believe in kneeling. We look at someone like Lane Kiffin, who goes off of percentages and analytics by going for it on fourth down. Was it last year? I think a couple of years ago they were playing Alabama. He was going for it on the fourth down on like Alabama's own 10. Like it's stupid, it's idiotic, but that's what they do. The Hall of Fame coach that I played with in high school, Coach Kenny Giat, probably one of the best high school coaches in the state of Louisiana. He ran a triple option. On 3rd and 10, guess what? He was going to run the midline dive. Was it a smart call? No, it wasn't. But that was his MO. And for Mike Cristobal, I have no idea what he was doing. But again, that's his MO. And coaches, they're very powerful. We talked about this Saturday, Tommy, how coaches go back to what they're comfortable with, and he's just not comfortable with kneeling the ball. He likes to run the ball in that situation, which is dumb, but that's his MO.
Hey, Derry, I know you got to hustle off to a meeting. Absolutely. Appreciate your time. We'll see you again soon. Raymond, your thoughts on that Miami situation? I mean, it's bizarre to say the least.
When you see players on the sideline asking, what are we doing? And they're clearly upset. what are we doing? And they just look around and they're going, what are we doing? That's a danger of losing your locker room, because if the guys don't trust you, that's a problem. And then look, and Darius White, this is part of his DNA. He's done this his entire career. They don't take knees. This is not what they do. He likes to keep running the ball, and I guess he doesn't like negative yardage plays. And I'm not really for sure what it is, but you take a knee, you win the game. Like, you take a knee, you win the game. He lost the game against Stanford years ago when he was at Oregon, and Miami has a ton of history. You and I are old enough to know this and appreciate what the U means in college football circles. To lose a game to Georgia Tech the way that you did, and you got players on the sidelines going, what are you doing? What are we doing? That's not a great sign. The opponent that you lost to, and not a neck on the Ramblin' Wreck, okay, but they're not traditionally on the same level as other programs. To lose that and have your players questioning it on the sideline, ah, that's dangerous. And if you're Miami and you're that athletic director, here's an offensive genius guy that you brought in from Oregon to help kind of, bring your program, that they're really working the NIL angle really well down there in South Florida. But how do you bounce back from that? How do you bounce back from giving the game away?
Well, and again, it's very hard to win a game. And then, I don't care what you like to hand off. The main objective is to win the football game. Okay. And if you kneel on that ball, I hate to say 100%, 99.99%, you're going to win that game if you kneel on it. Okay. And for some reason, you chose not to. We'll let Miami worry about that. We got Raymond Parks III here. Let's talk New Orleans Saints. They tossed a shutout. Did throw one last year, a shutout against the Raiders, but a shutout. The Patriots are really bad. They got more problems than they need to know about. But bottom line is the Saints got the offense going, albeit against the Patriots, and their defense, which has played very well, got the job done. Shutouts are extremely rare in the NFL. Saints got one, and they go back on the road this week, right down from you, Raymond. They'll play the Houston Texans a couple hours away from you. But that was a nice win. I'll call it a nice win for the New Orleans Saints.
It was a nice, what I call, get right game, right? A get right win. Defense pitches a shutout. Carl Granderson, you could argue, is the best defensive player they have. The way he's played this year, he's definitely living up to that contract that they are giving him. Honey Badger makes a play early that kind of sets the tone, right, with the little quick pick six to put them on the scoreboard. And yes, New England is on the struggle bus, right? They just are. At this point of the season, it's them, Chicago, and probably the New York Giants that may be the three worst teams in the NFL. That they just look bad. Look bad. It's tough to say that a Bill Belichick team, where's the talent on the roster? Like, you just go, I don't see it. But New Orleans needed to get right. Defensively, pitch a shutout, perfect, right? Granderson was great. Tyron was great. DeMario came up with some big plays. Cam Jordan came up with some big plays. Alante Taylor, who is going to be so good. He's a young guy, but he's going to be so good for them. Offensively, you did enough, right? I feel like when we have the conversations about the Saints and LSU, it's LSU has this great offense. Defense is what it is. Saints have a great defense. Their offense is what it is. Michael Thomas had a good game. Chris Olave is not right. Physically, we found out what it was. I think it was an ankle or a foot issue prior to the game. He doesn't look right. And Derek Carr still doesn't look right to me. Like, he still doesn't. The offense took strides. You got to see actual screen passes, which was, wait, timeout. What are we doing here? But there's a couple of things that you still look at. Like, Michael Thomas was good. Carr was okay, not great. And the offensive line with all the false starts. Like, I thought Doug Marrone was going to kind of fix that offensive line when he came in last year. And they were better last year. They've regressed, which is odd to say. They still commit way too many penalties. They're still not running the ball exactly the way you want them to. The Miller kid out of TCU looked good when he got chances. I still don't love the fact that they try to run Alvin Kamara between the tackles like he's a fullback, because he's not. So there's still things to work on, I guess would be my point offensively. Getting Olave right, getting Carr right would help. The offensive line still makes improvements. Their defense is going to keep them in every game. In every game. If the offense can just kind of figure it out, they could win this division. And I've said this before. They just need Derek Carr to be 10% better than Andy Dalton was last year. Because this team nearly won the division last year with Andy Dalton at quarterback and bad play calling from Pete Carmichael, right? If you can get Pete to be 10% better, you can get Derek Carr to be 10% better than what Andy Dalton was. With the weapons you have, a healthy Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara back, in this defense as good as it is, you should be able to win 9 or 10 games and win the division.
Raymond, let's talk Major League Baseball. Me being a baseball guy, I was glued to it all weekend long. Rangers very impressive, no doubt about that. And now they go back home. You'd think they're going to get that series, but the baseball playoffs have been what they always are. Every pitch is important, and you got some guys that step up. And if the pitcher's on, like the Lopez was for the Twins last night, it's going to be tough. I'm enjoying those baseball playoffs. And 2 more games today. We got Phillies and Braves at about 5 o'clock and about 8 o'clock. Diamondbacks, Dodgers, with the Braves and the Dodgers both in a little bit of a hole in the best of 5 series.
Yes, they are. In all transparency, I'm a Superstation baby. I grew up, my favorite player was Dale Murphy. So
there we go. That's a good one.
I can't tell you how much I just despise the Phillies. I'm trying not to use the word hate, Tommy. I'm trying not to use that word, but I despise them so much to my core. The big dogs are in trouble. They got their backs against the wall, but once again, this is baseball. And what I love about the sport is that anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. And the Braves have got to figure out a way to take down their division rival, who they dominated in the regular season. But once again, the Phillies beat them last year in the playoffs on the way to get to the World Series. So I expect a bounce back game for them. Clayton Kershaw just getting teed off on like was batting practice. It was alarming. And as good as their lineup is, the Dodgers with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and all those guys, but the pitching has been kind of a question mark at times for them. And look, Arizona's scrappy, right? And sometimes having that week off hurts you. I mean, look, so Dodgers got the week off, right? Because they lose game 1. Braves got the week off. They lose game 1. Baltimore had the week off. They lost their first 2 games. Of all the teams, the Orioles are the one they're in the most trouble because they haven't been here before, not recently. It's different once you get back to the postseason when you haven't been there in a while. And I've said this about the Rangers all season long. Yes, they have a bunch of guys on that team that haven't been in the postseason. They do have a few guys that have postseason experience with other teams, right? But you know what they have? They have Bruce Bochy. They have a guy who led the Padres to the World Series and then took the Giants to 3 World Series and won all 3 of them. A veteran skipper matters. It does in baseball postseason. It just does. It always has. It always will. You have a guy that's seen it and done it like Bruce has. That matters. The Rangers are going to be a dangerous team. In the Astros, a lot of Astro fans are upset because the way the Twins played yesterday and took game 2 and split the series. But the Astros have been awful at home all year. All year. They've been a far superior team on the road. Now the series shifts to Minnesota on Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're an Astro fan, you got to like your chances there because of how well you've played on the road all season. And you have guys that have been to 6 straight ALCSs, have played in 4 World Series in a 6-year stretch. They know what it takes to win in the postseason. I still like Houston to win their ALDS against Minnesota.
Yeah, I would think that would be the case as well. But, I'm always glued to the baseball. I kept an eye on the football all weekend, but always glued to the baseball. Raymond, tell everybody how they can keep up with you and all the things you got going on, how they can listen, watch the whole bit.
Well, I host with two other guys. I'm a co-host of RP3 D'Lo and Mesh. It's 11 to 1 during the week here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles. So if you're in either one of those markets, you can pick us up essentially from Tiger Stadium all the way to the Texas state line. You can also download the free mobile app, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. That's for Android or Apple devices. You can listen to all of our shows, our great local lineup. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at RP3_sports. And that's 3 Roman numeral 3. And we share all the content that we do for ESPN Southwest Louisiana.com. That's LSU, that's Saints, that's Pelicans, Major League Baseball, Astros, the whole 9 yards.
All right, Raymond, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to visiting again soon.
Tommy, appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Hope you have a great day, man.
You too. All right, I want to remind you about the Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Jason and staff do a super job. Great way to keep up with the lunch specials, the dinner specials, the drink specials. Full service bar right behind me there. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, everybody does that. But hey, if you connect with Court Street Cafe in Port Allen, Facebook and Instagram, you'll have a very good tab on what they're doing, when they're doing it, all that good stuff. Just a couple of minutes over the bridge in Port Allen, plenty of parking, and a beautiful patio out front. Now that this weather has cooled off, you can check that out as well. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Hey, once again, Ronnie Rance has been away from the microphone today. He'll be gone all week. I'll be back Wednesday and Friday, 9:30 in the morning from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. We'll have plenty of good stuff for you there. Like and share this video. That's the cost. It's free. You get what you pay for, right? But it helps us. It helps our partners, our advertisers, our sponsors, if you like and share this video. So really do that for us. We appreciate it. And as always, we're brought to you by the LeBears Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. The Barstool Sportsbook, soon to have a new name. But in fact, we'll be out there for radio this coming Saturday morning. That's right, Saturday morning. We're back to 10 a.m. to 12 noon. LSU Auburn will be a 6 o'clock kick on ESPN Saturday night. By the way, Tigers, we're a 12-point favorite. Now it's 11, over and under 62.5. So we'll be at the Barstool Sportsbook this coming Saturday. Come on out and get a bite to eat. Make your bets at the Barstool Sportsbook and check out all the games. And, of course, the Edge Lounge, Thursday, Friday, Saturday Lounge, live entertainment at the LeBears Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge. I want to thank Derry Beckwith for joining us, as well as Raymond Parch III, RP3 as he's known. And then do like and share this video. My name's Tommy Chrysan. We'll be back Wednesday morning at 9:30. Have a great day, everyone.